What if I told you that violent criminals that drove through East Cleveland had a game plan? And it worked. Flee to Cleveland, and the chase ends. Why? Because under the consent decree, Cleveland cops were told to stand down. No pursuits, no backup, nothing. And East Cleveland officers, they were left to face that danger alone. But here's what no one told the jury. The pursuit you're about to watch, the one that shows officers McInnes and Holmes acted by the book, was never given to McInnes or Holmes' defense teams. This video, which you will hear that the suspect blacked out his lights, tried to ram cruisers, went flying through Cleveland with no support in sight, sat hidden while prosecutors claimed it didn't exist. They didn't just bury evidence, they buried careers, reputations, and 2 decorated veterans. Today, we unearth the truth they tried to erase. In Cuyahoga County, few facts were more understood by the street criminals than this one. If you could get across the border into Cleveland, you were home free. Why? Because under the federal consent decree imposed on the Cleveland Division of Police, officers were severely restricted in their ability to pursue vehicles. After several high-profile deadly chases and federal intervention, Cleveland police supervisors routinely ordered officers to stand down from pursuits, even when they were directly in harm's way. It wasn't just policy, it was practice. If a pursuit entered Cleveland, the standing expectation was clear. You're on your own. East Cleveland officers knew this. More importantly, the suspects knew this. When East Cleveland officers initiated a pursuit, especially of suspects fleeing violent felonies, they were effectively operating without a net. Requests for assistance from Cleveland often went unanswered, not out of malice, but because they were forbidden by the consent decree policies. And when suspects fled, they almost always fled toward Cleveland. Here's the part you won't hear from the mainstream media. In almost every case, those suspects weren't even East Cleveland residents. They were Clevelanders fleeing home, knowing full well that once they crossed into Cleveland's jurisdiction, their odds of escape skyrocketed. East Cleveland officers took the heat for these pursuits. They took the criticism. They bore the brunt of public anger when chases ended badly. But they kept chasing, because to them, it was about protecting the communities on both sides of the border. Violent crime was enormously down in East Cleveland for the first time in decades. Today, we're going to show you how a perfect example of that, a pursuit where East Cleveland officers were once again left to fend for themselves while a violent fleeing suspect sped through Cleveland streets, endangering everyone in the path. This isn't just about one chase. It ties directly into the broader miscarriage of justice we've seen in the case of Officer Ian McInnes and Anthony Holmes. Ian McInnes' post-conviction briefs lay it out plainly critical. Body-worn camera footage that the state of Ohio claimed did not exist has now surfaced, directly undermining the narrative used to convict him. The footage proves that the officers acted appropriately, and that the real danger wasn't from the officers, it was from the criminals fleeing justice. And this case isn't isolated. It's tied to what happened to Officer Anthony Holmes, another East Cleveland officer, incarcerated under circumstances that deserve far more scrutiny. Holmes and McInnes were both part of the broader pattern. Officers doing their jobs under impossible conditions, then being punished for political expedience. In fact, the incident that you are about to watch isn't just tied to Ian McInnes' case, it's the very same pursuit that ultimately sent Officer Anthony Holmes also to prison. We're going to go through the pursuit from start to finish. The first 30 minutes, it's just the pursuit. If you don't want to watch the entire thing, skip ahead towards the end. But I really encourage you to watch it, because what you're going to see is a textbook example of how a pursuit should be handled. The call-outs were perfect. The officers were calm. They were coordinated. They did their jobs exactly as they were trained to do, even without the backup they should have had. And backup, it never came. Throughout the entire pursuit, over 50 minutes long, officers made multiple calls for assistance. They requested help from the Ohio State Highway Patrol twice. They requested help from Cleveland Police twice. Not once did Cleveland join the pursuit. Not once did Ohio State Highway Patrol deploy to assist. These officers were truly on their own. And as you watch, listen closely to the officers' call-outs. Passing Pontiac, no vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic. They were calm, precise, updated, just like they were trained to do. And when danger spiked, be advised this vehicle attempted to hit 3116. Swerved toward him, and almost simultaneously, Holmes calls out, he attempted to swerve toward me. They are currently blacked out. Despite the suspect attempting to hit multiple police vehicles, a textbook example of felonious assault, the officer stayed professional, reporting speed, traffic conditions, and every movement without panic. Passing East 99th Street, 57. Light vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic. Even when they were nearing downtown, where civilian lives are at risk, the officers kept their composure. East 26th, advising Cleveland downtown units. We're approaching downtown. East 24th on Superior. And remember, these officers weren't just fighting a fleeing felon. They were fighting the silence from Cleveland PD. No backup was coming. Things only got worse from there. At trial, prosecutors hammered Ian McInnes about the missing body-worn camera footage, nudging the jury to see him as careless or worse. They even had the audacity to tell the jury, we don't have the luxury of other footage, as if McInnes was personally hiding it. And the truth? McInnes wore his body-worn camera. He activated it. The footage existed, but somehow, like clockwork, it vanished or was unavailable along with Holmes' footage, Hartman's footage, and Nyman's footage. Funny how that luxury never seemed to be a problem when it came to anything that might have helped convict him. The footage existed the entire time, and guess what? The state knew, or should have known, that it existed. Their own investigators, Robert D. Simon and FBI agent Sean Roth, had full direct access to East Cleveland's body-worn camera system. Full credentials. Full access. But when they got caught flat-footed, what did the state do? They didn't own it. They didn't admit it. They pivoted to the laziest imaginable excuse possible. East Cleveland didn't give it to us, which is complete nonsense. Utter bureaucratic blame-shifting garbage. They had the keys to the kingdom, but blamed the guard for not opening the door fast enough. Stay with us as we break down the footage, the lies, the real story the state doesn't want you to hear. Now, here's where the state's excuse really falls apart, and fast. In their opposition, the state claims, and I'm quoting, it was the county prosecutor's office and the FBI that investigated defendants' crimes, not his own police department, end quote. Translation, don't look at us. We weren't in charge. East Cleveland had the body camera footage, not us. And this is precisely why this case should have been turned over to a third agency. Right? The prosecutor's office should not have been investigating this. Right? They aligned themselves with the FBI for this task force of East Cleveland. All right? But this should have been turned over to an outside agency like BCI or the FBI. But from what I understand, the FBI declined to prosecute. So the interesting thing is, the reason this is a checks and balance system. The prosecutor and the prosecutor's office alone controlled the narrative of what was happening and being said to the media. Going back to their excuse, here's the problem. Under Brady law, it doesn't matter who the lead agency is. The U.S. Supreme Court in Kiles v. Whitley made it crystal clear. If anyone on the government's team, police, prosecutors, federal agents, has evidence, it counts. If East Cleveland PD had body cam footage, it was the state's duty to find it and turn it over, not outsourcing accountability. It isn't the defendant's responsibility. But it gets even better. The Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office and the FBI had direct access to the East Cleveland's body camera system. Investigator Robert D. Simone and FBI agent Sean Roth, both working in this conjunction with the state, could log in and retrieve footage at any time. And they did. They had no problem obtaining other body-worn camera footage from the East Cleveland system, just not the footage that could exonerate Ian McInnes and Anthony Holmes. Funny how that works, right? They got the footage they wanted, the footage that helped their case, but somehow missed the footage that would have blown a hole right through their prosecution. And here's the real insult. Ian McInnes isn't just some random name. He's a United States Army veteran, a cavalry scout who was deployed twice during Iraq for his service. Anthony Holmes, a United States Air Force veteran, formerly with security services at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. He has served as a Spartan liaison, training the Kuwait Country Army to protect their own bases. He led Quick Reaction Forces, or QRF, across Qatar, the UAE, and Kuwait. Holmes spent almost 3 years deployed overseas, earned multiple awards and decorations, and was a designated marksman. Two men who served their country with distinction and now find themselves railroaded by a system they once swore to defend. This isn't just negligence. This is corruption. This is lies. This is cheating. The purest form of injustice you can find inside a courtroom. They didn't just fail to find the truth. They buried it. Bottom line, the state wasn't just responsible for finding that body camera footage. They were capable of finding it. They just chose not to because the truth wasn't convenient for their narrative. Apparently, fighting for freedom overseas doesn't guarantee you a fair trial back home, at least not in Cuyahoga County. This wasn't just another traffic stop. This was a rolling death trap. And the suspect didn't just flee, he blacked out his car's lights, making himself invisible. He wasn't running out of panic. He was running because he didn't care who he hurt or killed to get away. At speeds hitting 70 to 80, even 90 miles an hour, the suspect swerved into oncoming traffic, nearly struck pedestrians, and tried to ram police vehicles. It wasn't a chase. It was a ticking time bomb barreling through residential neighborhoods. And yet, at trial, when the critical body camera footage was conveniently missing, prosecutors confidently stood in front of the jury and lied. They told the jury that Ian McInnes was dishonest. And worse, they said Officer Holmes made it up when he testified the suspect tried to ram his cruiser. They didn't just argue, they weaponized the absence of evidence. They painted these officers as liars, knowing full well that the footage existed, showing exactly what McInnes and Holmes said. The blacked out car, the deliberate attempts to strike police vehicles, and the reckless speeds through the city. The footage was hidden. The jury never got to see it, and instead they were fed a false narrative that these officers were exaggerating or lying, and the jury, deprived of the truth, convicted. This is the very definition of Brady violation, suppressing evidence that could prove a defendant's innocence. They used his absence to destroy reputations and send innocent officers to prison. What McInnes and Holmes faced wasn't just a dangerous suspect on the street. It was a system willing to bury the truth to secure a conviction. The prosecutors didn't seek justice. They sought a conviction at any cost. Holmes was found not guilty of the assault they paraded in front of the jury. The crash report and photos, evidence the prosecutors later admitted they never even bothered to review, showed Holmes' cruiser was struck, not the other way around. Body camera footage even captured the impact, the vehicle jolting right, exactly as Holmes described. Meanwhile, their so-called victim, who testified under oath, he was told he's getting paid, spun a fantasy about being hit, and shoved into oncoming traffic at 105 miles per hour. Physics didn't matter, and the truth didn't matter. When the prosecutors realized their original indictment, accusing Holmes of intentionally causing the crash, couldn't survive even basic scrutiny, they scrambled and rewrote it the day of trial. They didn't care how many lies they had to tell or how much evidence they had to ignore. They had a mission, not to find the truth, but to bury it. When we talk about fairness in a courtroom, it all starts with one basic promise. You have the right to know exactly what you're being accused of. That's what an indictment is for. It lays out the exact charges, and if the prosecutors want to get more specific, that's where the bill of particulars comes in. No surprises, no tricks. But in Holmes and McInnes' trial, that promise was broken. The original indictment and bill of particulars said one thing, one set of accusations that Holmes and his legal team prepared for. But when it came for trial, the prosecution shifted. They went beyond what they originally charged him with. Holmes and McInnes' defense teams saw what was happening. They asked for a dismissal right then and there. They argued this wasn't just unfair, it was unconstitutional. A defendant has the right to be tried only on the charges approved by the grand jury. That's not just a rule, it's the Fifth Amendment. But what did the judge do? Instead of stepping in, she said, let's see how it plays out. Let's be clear. Once the charges change mid-trial, it's already too late. The trial Holmes was facing wasn't the trial he was promised. It wasn't what the Constitution guarantees. In legal terms, this is called a constructive amendment, and it's deadly serious. It means the prosecution moved the goalpost after the game started, and the judge just let them. Holmes and McInnes didn't get a fair fight. They got ambushed, and that's not due process. That's not justice. That's a rigged system, plain and simple. Today, we're going to show you a perfect example of that. A pursuit where East Cleveland officers were once again left to fend for themselves while a violent, fleeing suspect sped through Cleveland streets, endangering everyone in his path. This isn't just about one chase. It ties directly into the broader miscarriage of justice we've seen in the case of Officer Ian McInnes and Officer Anthony Holmes and many others that hopefully I will be bringing to the spotlight relative to the East Cleveland indictments. Ian's post-conviction briefs lay it out plainly. Critical body-worn camera footage that the state of Ohio claimed did not exist has now surfaced, directly undermining the narrative used to convict him. The footage proves that the officers acted appropriately and that the real danger wasn't from the officers. It was from the criminals fleeing justice. And this case isn't isolated. As I said, pretty much every one of the cases from East Cleveland, and it's directly tied right now, immediately, to Officer Anthony Holmes, another East Cleveland officer incarcerated under circumstances that deserve far more scrutiny. Both Holmes and McInnes were both part of a broader pattern. Officers doing their jobs under impossible conditions, then being punished for political expedience. In fact, the incident you are about to watch isn't just tied to Ian's case. It's the very same pursuit that ultimately sent Officer Anthony Holmes to prison. Now, in a moment, we're going to play that full pursuit. It runs under actually a little more than 50 minutes. And if you want to jump ahead to the analysis, you're welcome to, but I highly encourage you to watch the full thing unedited. I will be breaking in and giving commentary, because what you'll see is more than just a chase. You'll see a masterclass in professionalism, calm under pressure, and how to safely manage a high-risk pursuit without backup. Exactly the kind of footage that should be required viewing in every police training program in the country. So stick with us, watch it all, or skip ahead if you're pressed for time. Either way, we'll dissect the tactics, the coordination, the precise callouts, and how this footage not only clears McInnes and Holmes, but exposes the state's attempt to hide it. And yes, this is the pursuit the jury never saw. A pursuit that was never provided to McInnes or Holmes. A pursuit that dismantles the prosecution's entire narrative. Let's roll tape. All right, so what we're going to see here is, again, this is Officer McInnes's body camera. He's inside the vehicle, obviously. The date is incorrect on the body camera. It was an old intrinsic system. It was actually just like a GoPro on steroids. It was a very poor system, but I was able to get it upgraded. But this is what we're looking at here at this point inside of his car. You're going to hear all of the audio, everything that he's calling out. Initially, he's just going to be calling out the pursuit itself. Let's kick it off.
Go ahead.
All right, so just giving some context and background. I don't know if you can hear. Let me roll it back a little bit. You'll hear the That is the 800 trunk system. It's a radio system, and it's the inability to transmit for whatever reason. Either there's double traffic, the system for some reason isn't recognizing. So you're going to hear that from time to time. You're going to hear, that's an officer attempting to transmit, and it's not going through.
Go ahead.
Right there.
Okay, time to make a traffic stop on the vehicle. I'm Euclid, eastbound. Be approaching Stanwood, 17 of John Edward Zebra 8.
17 is just a signal and code for East Cleveland for a license plate.
686, John Edward Zebra 8686. Unknown occupant, reason for stop is speed 52 and a 35. Currently approaching Shaw.
All right, so a couple key things he calls out. He can't see how many occupants are in the car, so that's why he said unknown number of occupants, and he's giving the reason for the initial pursuit. Now, under East Cleveland policy, the supervisor at that point has the ability to terminate the pursuit. So the supervisor should be listening to the radio, here's the reason for the initial pursuit, and that's the reason the officers always give that initial reason so that supervisors have the ability to monitor at this point, okay, hey, this is why he's initially trying to pull him over, all right? But obviously, let's realize the initial reason that you attempt to pull somebody over is largely not the reason that they're running.
3115 copies that traffic direct. You got a secondary unit with you or no?
Not yet. I'm on Shaw in front of mobile. The vehicle's coming to a stop.
All right, so 3115 is the supervisor unit. And if you heard, he's asking McInnes, do you have another unit with you? Is somebody with you at this point? All right, so, and I probably a bad place to stop, but you just heard Officer McInnes says, okay, the vehicle is pulling over.
Okay, vehicle's pulling off. Again, we're passing Walton. Shaw towards Manhattan.
All right, so just giving context again, and I'm going to try not to stop it as much here, but the vehicle pulls over, and then as soon as it pulls over, it takes off again. Again, that's more of a red flag. Why is this vehicle running? Okay, initially it's for speed, yes, but now the vehicle pulls over, and a lot of times they're doing different positioning. Sometimes they're throwing things out the vehicle that you can't see. Sometimes they're hiding things underneath the seat, weapons, narcotics. And so the officer has no idea what's going on, all right? So that's important to understand.
All right, current speed is 47 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour. Passing Shawview, approaching Allegheny. Okay, we're going to be Allegheny towards crossing Ardenal. Still in Allegheny.
34 is on Allegheny off Bardwell.
Alright, copy. Alright, making a right. No street sign. Believe it's going to be Scioto. Traffic's light. No pedestrians at this time.
Okay, I don't know if you heard, he's calling out the traffic. Traffic's light, no pedestrian traffic. Again, important clues to, it lets the supervisor know, hey, this officer is maintaining and able to be calm during the situation, and that's more of a reason possibly to allow the pursuit to continue because, hey, the officer is able to maintain and give clear communication. He's calm, he's not jacked up. All right, so this is more of a reason to allow the pursuit to continue.
Copy, we're behind you.
Alright, let me know when you got a good view. Approaching Hayden. You're going to be Hayden towards Dong.
20. We'll call it. Passing Graham. Now passing Garden. Speed.
What you hear now is there's a secondary unit that is now behind McInnes, right? And I don't know if you heard I think there actually might be 3 cars at this point, or somebody is close by and can see the secondary unit behind McInnes, and he tells that officer, hey, you've got the ball. Start calling it out. When you're in a pursuit, the initial officer, which is McInnes, needs to have total focus on driving and what's going on in front of him. All right. So the secondary unit now takes over the radio and starts calling out the pursuit. Okay, hey, this is where we are. This is where we're going. This is the traffic conditions. And that's, again, allowing that primary officer, the first officer, to solely focus on the pursuit.
50. No vehicle traffic. No pedestrian traffic. Show 15 supervising. Passing second half. Speed 55. No vehicle traffic. Street traffic. Passing Holyoke. Passing Pontiac. Vehicle daylight. Vehicle made a right. Vehicle is now making a left onto Hayden, passing Phillips. Correction, vehicle making a right onto Phillips. Speeds 40. No vehicle traffic. no pedestrian traffic. Passing Speedway Overlook. Speed 55.
Be advised, this vehicle attempted to hit 3116, swerved towards them, attempted to swerve towards me. They are currently blacked out.
All right, so again, key things that we heard. All right, suspect is attempting to hit vehicles, which was actually later proven in trial, the damage that was caused to the vehicle 3116. He's calling it out. Hey, he's trying to hit a police car, and now he's telling that the vehicle has turned their lights off completely, which is highly dangerous. All right, why is this person being so aggressive? They're attempting to ram police cars. They're attempting to turn their vehicle lights off. They're attempting to evade police by all and every way possible.
I confirm I did notice that as well. I was getting ready to call that out when they broke the radio traffic. Go ahead and keep it on. Units passing 123, speed 50. No vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic. Approaching Lakeview, making a left onto Lakeview. Light vehicle traffic at this time. Speed 30. 29, can you get that 17 if possible?
John Edward Zebra 8686. John Edward Zebra 8686, crossing Superior Stone Lakeview.
Now, I don't know why he's asking for the vehicle registration. Maybe he didn't hear Officer McInnes. Officer McInnes already called out the license plate on the vehicle, but maybe the other unit didn't hear it. But for whatever reason, Officer McInnes was able to give it again. So far, I'm professional. This is a great pursuit as far as officer tactics. So far, this should be used in schools to instruct on driving pursuits.
Copy. Passing Oakland, speed 53. No vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic. Passing Auburndale, speed 44. Approaching Ashbury, vehicle made a right onto Ashbury. Speed 23. Light vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic. Passing East 118, speed 55. No vehicle or pedestrian traffic. Passing East 112, speed 55. Light vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic.
Call after call giving out calm directions, instructions. Hey, this is pedestrian traffic. This is vehicle traffic. Calm.
Passing East 108, speed 40. No vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic. Passing East 105, light vehicle traffic at this time. No pedestrian traffic. Vehicle made a right onto East Boulevard. Speed 30. No vehicle traffic.
Be advised, there's movement in the car, cell phones making furtive movements toward passenger side.
All right, so the officer's just letting all the other officers know, hey, he's making some sort of movement towards the right side of the vehicle, inside the vehicle. He's making some sort of movement, a furtive movement inside the vehicle. He's just letting other officers know.
Vehicle is passing East 99th Street, speed 57, light vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic. Be advised we're on Superior, crossing Ample. passing East 89th, speed 62, light vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic.
Now we're at 6 minutes and 49 seconds into this pursuit. We are at East 89th, which is clearly into Cleveland. And again, just pay attention because Cleveland is not going to assist. Cleveland is not coming. All right? And for the most part, these Cleveland officers know that already, as I've previously discussed.
East 82nd, speed 68, light vehicle traffic, continuing on Superior.
Notify OSP in Cleveland. Be advised, this vehicle did attempt to strike 2 police vehicles.
All right, again, calling out for assistance, calling out, hey, can Ohio State Highway Patrol assist us? Can Cleveland assist us?
Still on Superior, passing Russell, speed 72, light vehicle traffic. Passing East 61st Street, speed 70, light vehicle traffic. Approaching East 55th. Still on Superior, past East 55th, speed 55, light vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic. Passing East 47th, still on Superior, speed 70, light vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic. Vehicle just past East 40th, still on Superior, speed 60, light vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic.
This motherfucker.
Not that I would necessarily recommend that. All right, maybe that doesn't go into the approved school, but he's calm enough. He's taking a cigarette out. That's, again, how calm Ian McInnes is at this point at the pursuit. He's taking a cigarette out of a package in the middle of the pursuit.
Vehicle passing East 32nd while still on Superior, speed 70. No vehicle traffic at this time. No pedestrian traffic. East 26.
Advise Cleveland, downtown units. We're approaching downtown East 24th on Superior.
Again, second time they're asking for Cleveland. Now they're downtown. They're saying, hey, can you notify downtown units? We are in downtown Cleveland.
Vehicle still traveling on Superior at East 21st Street, speed 60. Vehicle traffic is light at this time, passing East 18th Street. Unit still on Superior, approaching East 13th. Vehicle has passed East 13th. Light vehicle traffic, light pedestrian traffic on the sidewalk. Passing East 9th, light vehicle traffic, no visible pedestrian traffic at this time. Passing East 6th, speed 60 miles per hour. Vehicle still on Superior, approaching West 3rd Street, speed 40. Passing West 3rd Street now. Passing West 6th, speed 60. Passing West 9th.
We are now on the west side of Cleveland, folks. We are 10 minutes and 32 seconds into this pursuit. and still no backup. None's going to come.
Speed still at 60. Light vehicle traffic. Speed 70. Still on Superior. Approaching West 25th, passing West 25th.
We've literally gone through, I don't know how many districts here, okay? We've gone through the 5th district. We've gone through the 4th district, 3rd district, 2nd district. We are on West 25th. And again, not even having to join into the pursuit. Are they attempting to even block roads for the pursuing units? Anything. Are they offering any assistance? No. No assistance whatsoever.
Unit still on Superior, passing West 28. Speed 40. Light vehicle traffic. No pedestrian traffic. Still on Superior, passing West 38. Speed 85 miles per hour. Now passing West 45th. Light vehicle traffic. Correction, units will be on Detroit Road. Units still on Detroit, passing West 55th, speed 80, light vehicle traffic.
I mean, we're almost by the we're almost by the zone car, right? Still no assistance.
West 65th, speed 75, light vehicle traffic. Correction, no vehicle traffic at this time. No pedestrian traffic. Passing West 77, speed 73, light vehicle traffic at this time. No pedestrian traffic. Passing West 83rd. Speed 45. Passing West 87. Light vehicle traffic. You can contact Lakewood. Let them know that those units are approaching Lakewood here shortly.
And I can tell you they're asking for Lakewood now, right? And I remember being in these situations. You're hoping that this person makes it out of Cleveland because you're going to get zero assistance in Cleveland. Lakewood's probably going to assist, all right? And so if minimal, again, maybe just by blocking intersections. But most other agencies are going to assist. Cleveland does not. And I got to give credit, Ohio State Highway Patrol generally did assist also. I don't know what happened in this particular pursuit. I don't know where they were. OSP was essentially the only other agency. Heck, I've even had a pursuit, a bank robbery, where the FBI assisted and Cleveland did not assist in the pursuit. The FBI was in the pursuit.
Units still on Detroit, passing West 95th, speed 50, light vehicle traffic. Detroit, speed 45, nearby for Brook Street. We're around West 90th. That was the Cadell Rapid Station back there at the Cadell Rec Center. We're getting ready to approach 117th here in a minute. Approaching 107, passing west 107. Speed 30. No vehicle traffic at this time. Detroit, passing west 112th Street, speed 60, light vehicle traffic. Approaching 117, vehicle made a right onto west 117th Street, speed 30. Almost struck two pedestrians crossing the road. No vehicle traffic.
Almost struck a pedestrian across the road. Not her sure, just making certain everybody heard that.
Vehicle is making a left-hand correction. Vehicle is continuing on West 117, passing Clifton, speed 45. Vehicle is now making a right-hand turn onto Lake Street, speed 20, entering Cleveland, passing West 116th Street, speed 40. No visible traffic or pedestrian or vehicle. 0186, monitoring traffic from the city.
We are 15 minutes and 23 seconds into this pursuit, and no assistance.
And the turn 3115 there as well. 22 still out of Shaw Stadium. Unit still on Lake Street, speed 60 miles per hour. No vehicle traffic or pedestrian traffic at this time. Passing west 104th Street, speed 60. Approaching West Boulevard. Vehicle is attempting to make a U-turn. Vehicle's now making a left onto West Boulevard. 34 will not have lead.
29's fine, 34 I'll be calling. Still on West Boulevard. Be advised he's going on the wrong way. Notify Metro Parks if they're in the area. We're down by, appears to be the beach.
Asking for Metro Park Police. Any assistance. Asking for anything.
Okay, we're approaching Edgewater. We're at Edgewater, back towards west. Current speed is 41 miles an hour. Approaching West Boulevard. Back West Boulevard towards Shoreway. West Boulevard towards the Shoreway. West Boulevard crossing Lake. Approaching Clifton, crossing Clifton, West Boulevard. Be advised, this male is swerving heavily. We can get OSP or any other additional units to help set up a roadblock.
More calls for assistance that will never come.
Continuing on West Boulevard. West Boulevard. It's not moving back on Detroit. Back towards downtown. Crossing West 95th. Detroit West 93rd. Eastbound Detroit. Approaching West 85th. Crossing West 85th. Traffic still light. No pedestrians at this time. Road's clear, weather clear. Crossing West 80th, Detroit. Vehicle is still blacked out, traveling in oncoming lanes. It's crossing all of them. Currently crossing West 75th.
Copy.
Passing West 170th, still on Detroit, back towards downtown. crossing West 65th. Current speed is 65 miles an hour. Still on Detroit. Crossing West 54. Traffic is still light. No pedestrians. He is going into oncoming traffic. Almost hit Cleveland car 254. Almost struck Cleveland car 254 crossing West 45th.
So this Cleveland car 254 almost gets struck. Does he assist? Does he even get in the pursuit? No.
West 38th on Detroit. Current speed is 47 miles an hour. West 29th. West 28th is going southbound West 28th off Detroit. Crossing Church. Crossing Clinton. The roundabout. Still West 28th. Still going to be West 28th. Crossing Circle. West 28th, crossing Woodbine, approaching bridge, passing bridge. Speed is 60 miles an hour. We're going to be westbound on Lorraine, Be Lorraine, approaching Randall. Current speed is 35 miles an hour on Lorraine, westbound, West 42nd, crossing West 44. Continuing Lorraine, crossing West 48, current speed 70 mile an hour. Traffic conditions are still light, no pedestrians, roads clear, weather clear. Current speed 78 miles an hour, Lorraine at West 58. Passing West 61.
3150.
Lorraine West 68. Lorraine West 73rd. Lorraine West 81. We're going to be Lorraine Avenue. Crossing over 90. Lorraine crossing over 90. Lorraine Ave still. Crossing West 95. West 96. Traffic is light, no pedestrians.
Alert. Project stolen vehicle contracts received. Reply code. Sierra. Uniform. 1.
Crossing West Boulevard.
Papa.
Lorraine approaching West 105. Lorraine West 105. Current speed 75 miles an hour. Roads clear. No pedestrian. 114. Lorraine at West 114. Lorraine crossing West 117. Lorraine West 120. West 125, continuing west. Still in Lorraine, crossing West 130th, using the opposite lane of travel, merge back over, correct lane of travel, West 131. Westbound, West 138 Fairwood, West 138 Fairwood. We'll be crossing West 140th, West 140th. Lorraine westbound, West 143. Current speed 75 miles an hour. Continuing Lorraine, West 150. Passing Trisket on Lorraine, passing Trisket. Speeds are down to, correction, he's headed back eastbound on Lorraine. Back east, West 157. This vehicle's smoking, pretty heavy. We'll be eastbound, path approaching Warren, West 159. Passing Lloyd Patterson, eastbound on Lorraine, West 143rd. West 140. Traffic light, no pedestrians. Current speed 80 miles an hour. Eastbound.
Okay, I don't think I was recording. So down here, 2 minutes and 17 seconds, there's two videos, right? They were spliced together, essentially the way the body cameras recorded it. It's two different files, right? I put them together. You can see up here towards the top, the full thing is 50 minutes, 53 seconds. Down here, it's showing 2 minutes and 17 seconds left on this clip. All right, so I'm going to let it go down to 2:17, and then we'll pause here and pick it back up.
Lorraine, passing 133. Passing West 130th. West 125. Passing West 117, still eastbound on Lorraine.
3134 headquarters. We're going to be passing West 105 at this time. 95. Moderate vehicle traffic. Light pedestrian traffic. Passing. Correction. Vehicle made a left on the West Boulevard, almost struck a pedestrian in the crosswalk. still on West Boulevard, approaching Western Road, passing Western Road, speed 55. Light vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic. Speed 70. Vehicle is approaching Madison. Vehicle crossing Madison. Going down the do not enter lane. Speed 50. No vehicle traffic or pedestrian traffic. Vehicle making a left onto Maria off of West 102. Speeds 35. No vehicle traffic passing West 104 at this time. Passing Madison. Speed 70.
All right, so we've gone into the second clip. I'm going to pause here for a second just to let my ears unfilter from the sirens. We'll be right back with this second half of this clip. Okay, folks, that's actually going to bring us to the end of part one. We're going to cut this into two parts. We're already at 57 minutes. We're way over, folks. The chase, professional. The call-outs, flawless. The risk, off the charts. The backup, non-existent. This was the pursuit the jury never saw, folks. No one has ever seen it. The video, the state buried. The evidence that dismantles their entire case and proves McInnes and Holmes didn't just follow the rules. They wrote the manual on how to do it right. And yet this footage sat in the dark while two veterans being painted as criminals. But here's the good news. It's not buried anymore. Tentacle Nation, this channel just crossed about a week and a half ago, 225,000 views, 250,000 of views, and we're still growing, and we're not done yet. In part two, we will roll the remaining body camera, which we're going to also get into the question, did Ian McInnes kick the suspect, as the Cuyahoga County prosecutors stated he did? Prosecutors didn't want you or the jury to see this. So if you're ready to witness the video that should have changed everything, stick around till next week. This is the tape or video that turns the narrative on its head. You won't want to miss it. Be loud, be heard, shake the system until the truth falls out.